What's up, what's up? It's been a minute since we did a Baddie on a budget video, and today I am back with some Bobbi Boss Core one-pack solution. So let's get into it. I haven't really decided what hairstyle I'm gonna do, but I do know I am gonna use this frontal that I got from Subi warehouse, and I already bleached the knots and plugged it. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the frontal, and as we do that, maybe I'll come up with what hairstyle I'm about to do. So let's do this. So we're gonna install this frontal. I'm gonna start with my pink mafia lace paste. Get into it. No.
Oh, who are you?
Okay, now I'm gonna go in and remove the lining from the frontal just to remove that excess bulkiness. I find that when I do this, I achieve a flatter install, whether I'm doing someone else's or my own. So for me personally, removing the lining is a must. And once I do that, I like to measure my lace to make sure it's good, and then I melt with the brown Spritz and the Ruby Kisses cream foundation in number 16 for my skin tone. I find that adding my makeup before I melt just works in my favor better. You know, to each his own, as I stated, but for me, this is what works. Makeup, and once I, cover all that lace to make sure it's matching my skin, I go in with my brown Spritz, not to try to play me and not try to come out, but we got an extra one on deck, and we're gonna keep things moving. We're gonna keep it rolling. So once you get that brown Spritz, you want to spray it to your finger and add it, and I find that doing this helps not lifting the whole lace off. So when you spray directly on a lace, sometimes I find that it just starts to lift and shift and slide because it's too you're making it wet, and it kind of needs to stay damp and dry in a sense so that it can just stick. So using your finger is like a little more control. Once I do that, I add my barber tape first, and then I like to add the elastic band, because as we know, we reuse our elastic bands, and sometimes some residue can be left over, and you want to avoid having any old residue on your new install. So I add the paper first, and then I like to go in with 2 bands, that extra hold to melt it down, because I just think that one band sometimes doesn't cover as much as I'm trying to get to melt down. So I'm a double band kind of girl, and yeah, if you know, bands on your head for an hour ain't for the week, but we go ahead and double them, and I do 30 minutes with the heat on. So that's how I like to melt my lace. Everyone has their own type of way to melt laces, but for me, I feel like the extra security plus the heat just gives me the hold that I'm looking for. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and blow dry that and melt it down and get into the next step of this wig process. Now that my lace has melted, I like to go in and snip in the middle and remove the lace side by side, measure around the ears, remove the excess hair, and pull back to make sure nothing is lifting. And if you find a spot that's lifting, you go ahead and, add extra glue to tack it back down, because this is key to an install that lasts, is making sure that all of the lace is actually stuck down and cleaning the residue before you move on to the next step. Okay, now we got the frontal installed. I am going to part my baby hairs out. I decided to do just a slick back ponytail, and I have ocean wave like I showed you earlier. And yeah, let's do the baby hairs. What's up? What's up? Say hey, Tootie.
Mommy. I can do it here.
What's that, Mama? You feel? Okay. Once all the baby hairs are parted, I like to go through and pluck any extra hair that makes the baby hairs look too thick. And I go ahead and manipulate the hair into the new direction to create those juicy baby hairs that I enjoy. Now that the baby hairs are complete and my sideburns, I'm going to go ahead and mold my frontal and my hair into one ponytail, ensuring that I slick it down and make sure it's as flat and clean as possible. And once I get that ponytail in, we ready to go. Okay, now that we've braided my hair and the frontal together, I'm going to go in with our Bobbi Boss one-pack solution in the texture Ocean Wave in the inches 22, 24, 26. And I'm going to go ahead and add the two longest ponytails first. And then I'm going to see if I need that third one because it does look like it's pretty full, but I like my hair to be very big. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to add two or all three. So right now we're just measuring and seeing how it's going to come out. And yeah, I'm liking how it's looking. So let's go ahead and start installing. You want to wrap your hair to protect your hair from the bonding glue. If you skip this step, you will end up with glue all in your frontal and all in your real hair. So this is very, very important when installing the ponytail. Wrap the hair completely to cover your natural hair and the frontal if you plan on reusing it. And this is what your track hair will be glued to. And I also find that this is a better attachment method just because it's paper-like and it's flat and the glue is on there. So once you press the hair into it, it's just much, much easier than having all that exactly through your hair. Looking like something straight out of Whoville. But now that we got our ponytail, we are going to go ahead and add our final touches to make sure it is slick down and get all those flyaways melted down into the ponytail, because who doesn't like a slick back pony? So once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and start installing my beautiful Ocean Wave synthetic hair. Okay, now we can attach the ponytail, the fun part. Okay, so this is the 26 inch, and I'm going to go ahead and add that glue. And when I'm using synthetic hair, I double the track. So it comes doubled, and I fold it again in half, so that way I have 4 pieces. And I just add the glue and wrap it this way. I find that when you do this with synthetic hair, it just makes it more easier to, keep everything in place, because once you start pulling your hands through and tangling the hair up, it makes it not look as clean. So you want to go ahead and wrap all of that hair together to keep everything together, avoid any tangling and the hair, just starting to not do what it's supposed to do. So I find that when you do that, it just keeps the hair in order better and lets everything stay unison and no funny looking tumbleweeds on your head. So now that I'm done, I'm going to wrap that final piece around my ponytail. I like to add a little bit of glue on that top track, just so when I lay the hair down, it gives the hair order of where you're going to stay. No shifting or sliding, it stays there. This glue really trying to play me right now when I'm trying to show you how to do this, but it is what it is. We're going to get through and get it done. The glue is there, and I'm going to wrap to show you exactly how you should be wrapping with a small piece of hair. Not too big, not too small. Just the size of my mouth. Okay, like a medium piece, like a little medium piece, because you're going to wrap it a few times to create that neat, clean, wraparound look at the top of your ponytail. And that is how I install a frontal ponytail. So cute, so fluffy and big, just like I like it. In total, we spent about $55 on this video. The frontal was $40 from Subi Warehouse, and the one-pack solution was $15 from my local beauty supply. So it's definitely giving Baddie on a budget. In total, under $60 for this look. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how you're feeling and tell me what kind of videos you want to see next time. Stay tuned.